Thank you very much for staying on the marketplace, and you're welcome back. Now to our very first story, the Tama Oil Refinery has resumed operations with a production of 30,000 barrels per day. Now the company stopped production due to some technical reasons earlier in the course of this year. The Chief Executive Officer of the company, Kwame Wada, could disclose this to Joy Business.
As we speak right now, we are getting back into production. We are discharging a vessel of crude oil. I think I met with you some time back and I said we were going to do a trial run. And in that trial run, we'll do between 1 and 3 million barrels, which we successfully did. Since we did that, we've done some strengthening works and maintenance works on the plant. We're going to produce another 4 million barrels, or process another 4 million barrels between now and the end of the year. Why is because we're going to stop somewhere in October or November and do our turnaround maintenance. Once we conclude the turnaround maintenance, the plant will operate for 18 months non-stop. That's when you get the real benefits of refinery operations in the country. In the meantime, we're also upgrading from a current 30,000 facility to a 45,000 facility. 45,000 barrels capacity will come on stream in September next month. And that will allow us to go from processing 1 million barrels every 42 days to 1 million barrels every 21 days. So the increase in the throughput of the refinery is going to go up significantly, which is going to lead to more efficiencies and cost savings.
Now, meanwhile, the much talked about toll debt has hit $600 million. Government is currently working to pay off the debt with a 10-year bond that will be issued very soon.
The toll debt, as we speak right now, is close to $600 million. However, I say that with a bit of a caveat because we are now concluding the audited financial statements for some historical years. So until that has been finally written off, this is just a management number. What we've agreed with our banks in this restructuring is instead of calling it a bond, it's going to come out as a self-amortizing facility. But it is all, to all intents and purposes, is structured as a bond. So TOR is paying the investment amount of 148 million cedis. That means that the ESLA levies that are going to the TOR debt recovery, that are coming out of the TOR debt recovery levy portion, will be used to pay the interest and will lead to a self-amortization of the facility over the next 10 years. We have an interest rate of 20%, it's a zero coupon bond, and so on and so forth. So we are going to run it for 6 months, bring confidence in the transaction to the financial markets, and then list it as a bond.
Now moving on here on the marketplace, some banks have expressed misgivings about the request by Ezwich agents to be issued cards. Now, Ezwich cards are currently issued by banks, but agents being roped in to offer the service want to also be allowed to sign on individuals to boost patronage. However, some banks Joy Business has been speaking to say some problematic issues need to be tackled before this can be implemented. Here is the head of Ezwich service at Access Bank, Walter Annan, and the head of e-payments at GT Bank, Joshua Ado.
It is the cost implication. We are buying devices, we are buying cards. If the agent want to issue card, the agents need a working laptop, a modem, because that is online thing. So if the bank is going to invest that much in the agent to do the issuance, then I think we have to look at the agent as a whole. If in case like surety kind of, should the agent run away with our kids? So it comes down to KYC. So if we get the KYC done proper on the agent, I think we are good. We can give the agent the devices to issue the cards on our behalf.
It's a dicey issue. There's a lot of things that we need to consider as a bank. You can't have just anyone signing on anybody to roll on Ezwich services. So again, I think I would like to reiterate that if you want to sign on for a bank, you talk to us first. We'll have to understand what you do and then probably see if we would like to work with you in that regard or not. But it's best to work with a bank. Talk to your bank and then we can move on from there.
As government continues to encourage especially the youth to start their own businesses in the face of growing levels of unemployment, industry players are, however, worried huge taxes and generally the unfavorable business environment remain disincentives. Rector of the Kumasi Polytechnic, Professor Nicholas Nsua Nuama, says enhanced government support is required for new businesses to drive the national economy. He was speaking at the 13th Ashanti Business Awards ceremony in Kumasi.
Professor Nsua Nuama acknowledges entrepreneurship as key driver of the Ghanaian economy. He is, however, worried huge taxes are discouraging innovation among many Ghanaians. Professor Nsua Nuama wants government to take a second look at the subject.
I also want to appeal to the government to continuously consider how to cushion Ghanaian businesses in general and those from Ashanti region in particular. The incentives as well as flexible requirements for startup businesses must be further enhanced.
He also touched on the conversion of polytechnics into technical universities, insisting it holds the key to addressing local business challenges.
The technical universities are here to assist industry and businesses. In other words, there are some collaborations that have to take place to become a win-win situation.
The event saw about 40 indigenous businesses receiving honors for hard work and exceptional contribution to the local economy.
For the 13th Ashanti Business.
Dumpase Hene Okofo Sobin Kain II, who represented Asante Hene Otumfo Osei Tutu II, raised issues about what he says is inadequate government attention to agriculture. He encouraged financial institutions to consider credit to agriculture for enhanced economic growth.
An investment fund into an export trade. Agriculture and Industrial Development Fund in the expectation that this will enable the agricultural sector, which is the mainstay of the Ghanaian economy, access credits from the fund.
Founder of Abubuya Company Limited, producers of tricycles and mobile sanitation bins and trucks, Gideon Seidu, an award recipient, lamented local businesses are compelled to look outside Ghana for opportunities due to challenges facing local businesses.
Provided you use $1.5 million to import containers, and after you lost, let's say, 3 Ghana cedi, you can see the losses are very large. So this does not encourage me in particular at all. So therefore we have begun that if this particular issue cannot be solved amicably, then we have to extend our business to other countries.
For Joy News, Prince Apia reporting.
You're still live on the marketplace, and moving on. West African economies are expected to be impacted significantly by Nigeria's recession. Some economists have attributed the dwindling global crude prices, the falling value of the naira, as well as the increased inflation, which is now pegged at 17.1%, at factors that have eventually led to Nigeria's recession. Now, Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeson, has, however, assured the recession would be short-lived and that the federal government was committed to stimulating the economy through capital releases, social intervention programs, and import substitution strategies, among others, to attract foreign portfolio and direct investments. But what could be the exact implications of this particular development in Nigeria on the economies of West African countries? Now, joining us here on the line is trade analyst Richard Ampabing to analyze the situation. Good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace, sir.
Good afternoon, my brother.
All right. So what exactly should Ghana worry about? Of course, Ghana and other West African economies. How are we going to be impacted by Nigeria's current recession?
Well, thank you very much. Ghana must be worried about what is happening in Nigeria. I say so because Nigeria accounts for about 10% of Ghana's foreign trade, and Ghana is Nigeria's 9th largest trading partner. You know, so if your trading partner is going through challenges, then it is most expected that some of the problems will be extended to you. So that's the worry of the Ghanaian economy also.
Now, looking at the currency, which has been dwindling, the Nigerian currency, which has been dwindling in times, I mean, in recent times before the adoption or the announcement of the recession. Now, Nigeria adopted an import substitution strategy, which did not work. How can this particular strategy also affect Ghana's exports to Nigeria?
Well, I would say that this is what we call unfair trade practice. Because when Nigeria came out with import prohibition, they did not consider neighbors. They made it throughout, without exception of even West Africa Economic Community. And I will tell you that if we get ourselves into this community, Ghana and Nigeria account 68% of the trade volume. Now, if the two of us are the giants and you are prohibiting import and you don't have exemption for your close partner, then there's a problem. And out of it, I suspect Ghana too has come with a trade ban. And this has to do with crude oil, cement, and pharmaceuticals. And definitely, it will also have some kind of repercussions for Nigeria. And I believe Ghana has rightly done it. Because if you get to our market, especially pharmaceuticals, we are doing very well. But as a result of the Naira's weakening position, it's making imports from Nigeria pharmaceuticals cheaper than what Ghana is bringing from India and Europe. So definitely, the effect is two-sided. And I'm afraid if we are not careful, even though we have made a ban, if we don't restrict our borders critically, there could be some smuggling as a result of cheap imports from Nigeria.
Now, these two countries are traditional partners. I mean, they've been sister countries for a long time. Now, additionally, we are also members of ECOWAS. Both of us have also adopted kind of prohibitive trade practices. Now, in times like these, how can the two countries join together in the spirit of ECOWAS, for instance, to harmonize their trading relationships?
Yeah, the harmonization is the catching word. And I'm worried, looking from the position of trade analyst, analyzing trade. Why is it that in West Africa we have different custom tariffs? Why is it that we have different trade agreements? It's making us lose out. So, for instance, if Ghana is concentrating on doing X, Y, and Nigeria is also doing the same thing with some kind of cheap, I would say, things to attract foreign direct investment, then you will see that people will be shifting to Nigeria as against Ghana. I'll give you an example. Some countries within even ECOWAS community have free port arrangement, they call it. So you realize that everybody will want to pass their goods through those countries. That's the seemingly free port system working over there. So in other words, they make anchor those ports and then try to smuggle their goods through areas where otherwise you pay tariffs. These are the things that, as ECOWAS, must sit down, cooperate, and coordinate these activities. And we have common tariffs. So if you go to Nigeria, you go to Benin, you go to Togo, you come to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, you have the same tariffs. So now, much will depend on good governance, much will depend on other considerations than dodging taxes here and there. So that is what we have presently in our neighborhood. They come, they dodge tax, 5 years, they move away to another country, set up that kind of arrangement. This is what is happening to all of us, and we are losing out.
All right. So we have commonalities like the impact of global dwindling petroleum prices. Now, can this impact on Ghana's cedi, because it has a dire effect on the Naira? Can it also affect the cedi in times like these?
Oh, sure. If you look at the movement of the cedi now, these are lean seasons. But the cedi, as compared to the dollar, is depreciating. So can you imagine when we get to November, December, then we'll see a more accelerating depreciation. And it is also occasioned by these same petroleum products that we also rely most on. That's the cause of Nigeria's woes. And I'm afraid if we don't take pragmatic steps, it is going to happen to us also.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Richard Ampabing, for that insight. Richard Ampabing is a trade expert talking about the dire consequences Nigeria's recession can have on West African economies. Now, moving on, the Bank of Ghana's plan to establish a fund dedicated to financing agriculture appears to be taking shape. The central bank is inviting bids from consultants to help with the setting up of the fund. But how is the fund going to operate? George Biafe tells us more.
The Bank of Ghana, in a public notice, is asking for applications from firms that have the capacity to manage the fund to apply to the central bank. The fund will be known as the Ghana Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending. The regulator says it is doing this in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture with support from the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa. The central bank says the fund will provide technical support for institutions that extend funding to farmers, especially those in the rural areas. It will also come up with some innovative insurance products for farmers to help reduce the risk of the sector. There will also be a mechanism that will incentivize commercial banks to increase the lending to the sector. The Bank of Ghana will also be coming out with a new mechanism that will rate banks based on their lending to the agricultural sector. Farmers will also get some support from the fund to go digital with the use of mobile phones.
And in a related development, the second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, tells Joy Business the fund would be used to address some of the numerous challenges facing the sector.
For us, this is one small way of contributing. At the end of the day, financing to agri has to come from various sources. Don't forget, there's a Ministry of Agriculture. This is the arm of government that is charged to sort of drive that intervention. What we seek to do is the small and the smart interventions that will more or less facilitate, sort of make sure that the flows go to that sector. So the intervention by no means, but it's not a panacea. We are essentially going to be looking at a number of cereals and then also some vegetables like tomatoes, etc. That's what we are looking at.
This is the marketplace. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back.
The bank
Thank you very much for staying. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, sooner or later, tourists in southern Ghana who wish to see live crocodiles would no longer have to travel all the way to Paga in the northern region. It follows the discovery of a large crocodile pond in the Akachi North district of the Volta region. The district assembly is, however, seeking private investors to help develop the pond into an ecotourism center under a public-private partnership.
Yeah, we have tried our best as an assembly. Now we've put one person in charge, a traditionalist, who is doing the traditional taming of these crocodiles. Some years back, they were coming out as and when they so wish. But now, these traditionalists will come and then perform some traditional practices, and then gradually we managed to invite these crocodiles as and when he wants them to come out. So you can see that now we had this football team that came, and some children came around and wanted to view the live crocodiles. So he's been able to bring them out. So gradually we are improve on the taming of these crocodiles. Now you can even touch them, they will not harm you. What is left now is to be able to develop some infrastructure around it, which the Assembly is seeking a public-private partnership arrangement with investors, be it local or international investors, to come and assist us develop this unique tourist attraction.
Well, on that note, we draw the curtain down on this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Biafe. You can always get interactive with us by tweeting at Joy Business GH is a handle. On Facebook, we are on Joy Business, and for more business news updates, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Good afternoon.